Culber. It is indeed a new era for the Cowboys, and it appears to be a new era for Monday Night Football. ESPN NFL Nation Cowboys reporter Todd Archer, the first to report today that the Cowboys' all-time great informed team owner Jerry Jones and coach Jason Garrett, he will retire to join Monday Night Football. At 35, he leaves the game as one of the best tight ends in NFL history. And even though he reportedly wrestled with the decision, he moves into one of the best TV jobs in sports. An incredibly productive career in Dallas for Witten, who stands fourth on the NFL's all-time receptions list behind Hall of Famer Jerry Rice, Tony Gonzalez, and Larry Fitzgerald. Witten logged 4 seasons with 1,000 yards for the Cowboys. That's tied with Gonzalez and Rob Gronkowski for the most ever by a tight end in NFL history. And Witten has only missed 1 game in his entire career, which was back in his 2003 rookie campaign due to a broken jaw. And since then, he's played in 235 consecutive games. Only punter Shane Lechler has a longer active streak at 254 games. A recently released wide receiver Des Bryant posted this on Instagram. He wrote, he heard about Witten's retirement decision in a phone call. GOAT is his name. He had to call me for me to believe it. First ballot, no question. What an amazing career, 82. Oh yeah, I dropped a dime to you for 6. Remember, even when Tony Romo retired, he got a prominent mention as maybe the greatest Cowboy of all time. How will he be remembered?
Listen, the numbers that you recited there speak for themselves. Who plays 235 straight games? And I remember that game where he played with a broken jaw in one game. He played an opener against the Giants where people wondered whether he could go out there and play in that game. Nobody's ever caught more passes as a Dallas Cowboy. Nobody's ever had more receiving yards as a Dallas Cowboy. And I would also argue there are very few people, if any, that have carried themselves more like a pro than Jason Witten is. And that is, to me, his greatest legacy. He's an example for every player who comes along to show them exactly how you should handle yourself and carry yourself.
He's pretty much universally liked and respected. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, that's the story with Jason Witten. And, you know, Adam, you referenced how you do it. Look, when they had young players come into Dallas, they would say, listen, go stand next to 82. Watch 82 practice. Watch 82 the way he behaves in meetings. Do it the way that he has done it. And quite honestly, he really should be the standard for how guys want to carry themselves as pros in the NFL.
Well, what's really cool, too, the Frisco facility where Jerry Jones recently built and moved the Cowboys practice facility there, when you walk through the doors, there is very expensive marble on the floor. And there are quotes engraved in that marble from legends that played for the Cowboys. And there's one on there from Jason Witten when you walk right in. And I think that speaks volumes that this guy was playing for the team, and he already had his name engraved in the marble within that building. This was a active legend, which is so rare for us to see. When you walk to the locker room, a giant picture of Jason Witten, and he handled that so well. A lot of players might not be able to handle the ego of seeing their face as they walk through the locker room, but everybody just admired and treasured his presence to a point where it didn't seem overly egotistical. He's just a person who has handled everything that he has done with such grace.
And let's be honest, this was a difficult decision for him to make. I think it's very hard for a lot of players who have been around the game for a long time to actually walk away, especially when they know they still can perform the way that he can. Right. And Jason Garrett wanted him to keep playing. And they talked to him about going another year. And for a period of time this week, there were people around him who thought he was going to back away from the Monday Night Football job and not take it and go play another year, which, again, everybody gets to live his own life, her own life. That would have been a mistake because these jobs don't come along very often. And that's an unbelievable situation for him to walk into and to walk out on his terms right now.
That last game that he had, I was at that game, and he got overly emotional talking about his potential future to the point where he was just on the brink of tears. And while he's always a passionate person, it felt different. It felt like he truly was thinking about retirement. And, the old Parcells mantra, his guy, by the way, always used to say, if you're thinking about retirement, you are retired. I don't know if that always is a perfect line to follow, but for Witten, this feels like a good time for him.
You think it's going to be emotional? Especially if he's
so
struggling with the decision. You would imagine it would be emotional. We're going to carry the press conference live, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. in Dallas. That happens on ESPN2 as soon as we step out of the way here on NFL Live. That happens over on ESPN2. So we'll be waiting there with you to watch the emotion. As stated, a new era for the boys without Witten and Des Bryant. These are the most significant or notable losses for Dallas this offseason. With Witten's retirement, the Cowboys are losing the franchise's all-time leader in games played, receiving yards, and catches. And they cut Des Bryant for cap reasons last month. His 73 touchdown catches are the most in Cowboys history. So with that, Adam, let's tackle some news and notes, and let's start